What's up, goblins, and welcome to my Cosmoteer Megaship Guide. I am extremely excited about this part, because this really is a project of my heart. I always wanted to share my Cosmoteer knowledge with a greater audience, and actually that's also a reason why I started this channel. So in today's part, as you already heard, we're going to talk about the concept of how to get an idea of a megaship. I want to make in total 3 parts, so the second part will mostly cover what types of weapon can you use, or how can you arrange cluster thrusters efficiently for your ship. And the third part will mostly be how to connect or how to bring your ships together using a method called locking. This is a very well-known method in the Cosmoteer community already. And because this is a very complex theme, I want to make this guide more for advanced players or just interested viewers, not so much for beginners. So I won't explain any core mechanics or how this single weapon works or something like this. I want to just focus on this main part on the megaship, nothing else. Alright, now before you start constructing your megaship, you need to make sure that your collision avoidance is offline. So for that you go to your menu, to settings, and under gameplay you need to unfold your ship commandments. And there you need to make sure that this box, enable collision avoidance, is unchecked. Then you click apply and OK. Because if you do not uncheck this, phase 3 will be extremely painful for you. It won't work at all, and I already tried this out. Okay. Now you definitely got the question, now what is a megaship? You're already talking about this, but I have no idea what this is. So just to give you a short definition, a megaship is a ship that's in total larger than the maximum grid size. And to reach this goal, you need to make sure that it contains at least 2 ships, 2 individual ships. And those ships, 2 or more, have to be bound together in a way that they can move freely in any direction. So they're not just pushing and pulling, and if you go backwards, the ship falls apart. Second question is now, why should I even use megaships? I mean, I can just download mods, right? I can just extend my grid size further. I don't need this. So there are a few things why you should megaship, definitely. So first, it is very fun and challenging to play. The second one, there is no need to download any mods, any kind of. You can just play this in vanilla. You can build one right now after you watched my full guide. You can just start. You don't need to download anything else. You can just open the game, play Cosmoteer, and build your own megaship. And the third one is, it doesn't matter how much you can extend your grid size by mod, because with this technique you can literally build infinitely large ships, so you can always build bigger ships than with mod. That also means you do have more firepower than modded ships, of course, unless you got a mod for like other weapons and yeah, I don't know, rooms and so on. So I also brought you 2 ships so you can see what I mean. Here the first one is a diagonally built up ship, the second one is a more straight up ship. So as you can see, those ships contain 4 different ship parts, they're all individual ships. So now I want to talk about the concept. How do I get an idea, and what do I have to keep in mind if I build a megaship, or if I think about a megaship first? So the first thing you need to think about is, of course, what shape does my ship have? And how many ship parts do I want to build? So if it comes to your shape, I recommend to go into creative mode and just start drawing your ship. And to make it easier, I would recommend to go for a symmetric ship. So you want to make sure your mirror mode is online. Okay, now let's say I want to rebuild this boomerang ship here. So therefore I change my mirror mode to this, northeast, southwest, and then I start just casually start drawing with some structure, just a general shape in blueprint mode. Nothing specific in mind. I just know I want to go something like a boomerang, so I just draw something like this, a straight line, then I go more roundish like this, and so on, also with your back part. Then I already have my general shape. Now, you need to make sure when it comes to this that you have some straight lines, because you will need those straight lines to connect your further ships later. So I will show you in my example here. Exactly, as you can see, I've got a straight line here and I connected my second ship. I attached it right there on this line. So you need to make sure you have at least, I'd say, 15 to 20 tiles straight line where you want to connect your ships. The second thing, if it comes to this, you need to make sure that you have that you leave some space on the edges here. Just mark it just like something like this. So you can make sure that you have a connection here, right? I will cover this in the building part more, what this connection is and how does it look like and what connection types are efficient. Just mark something like this so you're sure that you have enough space for your proper connection. Now that you've drawn your first ship, you want to draw your other ships just like this. And then you have to think about another thing. So how to arrange your ships, because they're still all individual ships. You're gonna have problems coordinating your thrusters. And therefore, I recommend building one ship that's mainly only thrusters. So that's not having any weapons, that not have any offensive capabilities. It is just meant to move your ship forward. So in this case, I decided to make this one right behind my first part, because the first part is very well armored, right? You see, I have a layer of, I don't know, 15 tiles of armor maybe. I do recommend actually more, like 20. So this is already a bit thin, because you have to think about this. With a mega ship, you want to fight extremely big ships, and you want to fight multiple ships at a time. So you need to make sure that your front ship that faces the enemy is extremely well guarded, because if it is not well guarded and the enemy shoots through here and it hits kind of, let's say, this connection or disconnection here, your ship will completely fall apart and your mega ship will be useless. So you really need to make sure that your front ship is well guarded, as well as your thruster ship, of course. It has to be very well, guarded from enemy fire. And that's why I recommend to make your thruster ship on the back or in the middle. I can show you this. So in this case, I made my thruster ship in the middle part. And to guard your, or to build your front ship that wants to face the enemy with heavy armor, more shields and something like this. So to summarize this, when it comes to arrangement, to ship arrangement, you need to keep in mind that you need one thruster ship to drive your ship, because all of those parts you want to build, they are still individual ships. So the game does not recognize them as one ship, even though they are very strongly bound together. And that means you need one thruster ship to drive your ship, because your mega ship will not be able to coordinate all of its thrusters. And you also don't want to exposure your thruster ship to enemy fire. Therefore, I recommend to build this one either on the backside or in the middle of your ship, so it's well defended from enemy fire. The second thing you want to make sure is that your outer ship parts, or those ship parts that are very exposed to enemy fire, that they are heavily guarded by armor and by shields, but especially by armor. So you go for like 15 to 20 tiles armor at least. As you can see here, I also added some shieldings for my iron beam prisms. I will talk about this, why I arranged it like this in my second video, in my upcoming video, so do not mind this right now. And as you can see, I also added some very heavy firepower to this. Of course, you don't only want to make sure that your ship is alive, but you also want to have some offensive capabilities to take down even very, very big enemies. And I'm going to talk about this as well, but just for the first time you think about your concept, you need to make sure you have enough space for enough armor as well as some heavy weaponry. Alright, we are now coming to the end of this episode already, and I want to give you some recommendations for your first time building a mega ship on hand. So, you don't really want to build something like this that's very complex. You want to go for something that's easier. So therefore, I recommend to only build 2 ship parts, so 1 thruster part and 1 heavy armored front part that will face the enemy heads on. And you want to make sure it's straight on, not diagonally like this. Of course, I will also cover this one in the upcoming episodes, but for your first time building a mega ship, I actually recommend something more like this, something that's straight upward and does not have any diagonally connected parts. Okay, the second thing I recommend is build symmetric. And with symmetric, I mean every single tile. So let's say you want to build a control room. Okay, you want to build it somewhere over here. So even though you do not need those points anymore, make sure you got one on the other side as well. You constructed one on this side, then you construct one on this side. Because if you do not do this, and let's say you turn your, you turn your mirror mode off and you just decide, okay, I don't need this control room, right? Because I have enough points. I get already here 800 points. I don't need this control room. So I'm gonna build a storage here. Okay. So what does this mean for your ship? It does mean your ship is not symmetric anymore. And this also counts for your mass. So the middle of your mass point is, if it's completely symmetric, it's in the middle of your ship, right? But if you do not build it symmetric, it's somewhere here or somewhere else. And you can't really see it because it's not displayed within your game. But this also means if you turn on your thrusters in a way that I will show you later, that it will not move anymore in a straight line. It will have a slight curve to this side or this side. And this messes up your third phase and makes it extremely complicated to connect. Okay, I'm gonna show you an example for this, how does it and how complex it can become. So for this ship, you can clearly see it's not symmetric, right? So I don't know where the mass point is. It should be the middle of your mass is something like here, somewhere located, because I got many armor tiles over here and some weaponry as well, so it's maybe somewhere here. Okay, now, and to connect this, I need to be extremely precisely. So I need to move this whole ship part up front to this connection as close as possible. Then I need to arrange its angle, so it's completely 180 degree to this side. Then I need to keep this exactly 120 tiles, so this to my start point, backwards. To do this, I press Alt F, and then I have to move this just by eyesight backwards until it reaches this line here. Then I need to turn on all forward thrusters, those big ones, except for this one thruster here, because I need to wait 6 seconds in 1/8 mode, time mode, until I activate this thruster as well. And only then, if I do this, I was able to connect it to my ship in, I'd say, 2 out of 10 times that I tried this. So yeah, it's extremely complicated, and I definitely recommend to go symmetric. in every single tile. Okay, that's already it for my first part. This is a much shorter part. I think the other two parts will be more, will be longer and more detailed when it comes to building or actually connecting your ships. So in the next part, I want to cover the building part. So I want to speak about how to arrange your weapons, what kinds of weapons I recommend, and also how to arrange thrusters efficiently. And of course, I will also talk about those connection parts here. Okay, that's already it. Thank you for joining in. I hope I was able to show you some new parts of this game and that I encouraged you to build your own megaships. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.